Welcome back to the UIA Trusted Partners Podcast. On today's episode, I have a clean episode. In fact, I have Maxim Cleaning and Restoration, and I have Lexi Reynolds, the office manager, and Gabe, Mackey, the owner of Maxim Cleaning and Restoration. Thank you guys for joining the show today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Of course. Always happy to roll out the list, or roll out the welcome mat, I should say, because let's be honest, it's cold, it's chilly.
Right.
It can mean burst pipes. It can mean some bad things going on in the neighborhood, but we'll get to all that here in just a few for Maxim Cleaning and Restoration. But for the listeners who may have had a chance to meet you yet, Gabe, where did the journey begin for Maxim Cleaning and Restoration, and how has, and I should say, in this year, how many years are you celebrating the business? A little bit of a tongue tie there, but sorry.
Yeah, it's been a long journey, pretty much since birth. My father had a Service Master franchise that he started in 1972 in Fremont. I stepped onto the scene in 1979. I worked with him full-time from the time I was 18, 19 through 34.
Wow.
And
quite
then,
the career.
I created, when he retired out, I created my first company in 2012, and that took me into 2018 when I purchased Maxim, and I've been running with that for going on 7 years now.
So you kind of know what you're doing.
I think so. Yeah.
You know, only a vast amount of knowledge and information.
I've seen a thing or two.
You might have come across a weird situation a time or two. No, I love that. It's very similar to kind of me and my old man. He grew up doing carpentry and construction with his dad. I started doing that, and he kind of went, well, here's the thing. While I love this, it's not the best job. So he's like, and your back's going to hurt by the time you're 40. So maybe find something better to do. I'm like, well, spoiler, my back already hurts and I'm 18. Yeah. So, yeah, it was kind of one of those cool little parallels I'm able to draw there. Now, with Maxim Cleaning and Restoration, you kind of have quite a list of services you offer. I kind of wanted you guys to tuck in on some of those.
Right.
What are some of the more popular services you get hired out? And what's some of those more oddball jobs that have kind of stuck out to you over recent years?
Sure. Air duct cleaning and carpet cleaning are probably our main day-to-day, and throwing in dryer vent cleaning and upholstery cleaning with those are I would say, our constants.
Sure.
Water damage is fairly seasonal, especially when it comes to frozen, broken pipes. Mm-hmm. You do get some sewer backups. Somebody's going to have a malfunction in their home from time to time, whether that be a refrigerator, a washing machine, a dishwasher, or your water heater down in your utility room takes a crap.
It happens.
It's going to happen. Special situations. This is... Oh gosh, I think in 2016 or 2017, I was called in by the city of Fremont to clean up a house where an older gentleman had lived. Mm-hmm. And they were relocating him because of health issues in the home.
Gotcha.
The Humane Society gathered 87 cats out of this one house. There was...
Everything.
Cat stuff everywhere.
Everywhere.
When you were outside in the driveway, your eyes were burning from pneumonia. We went in, cleaned that house up so he could go back to his home. That was definitely a unique situation.
I can imagine that's one that's just almost burned into the memory of like, that's pretty up there on the list. Yeesh.
We get into, we've even gotten into some homicide and suicide cleanups.
Sure.
So,
which is a tough industry to handle.
It is.
Just on a personal level as well.
It's you're walking on eggshells the whole time, but it still has to be cleaned up.
Yeah, but it's not going to go away.
No.
So it is a tough conversation, but that is an amazing thing that you guys even offer a help in that space, because I know a friend of the shows, we've had Bio One on the show as well, and those guys are awesome. But I mean, they can't do it alone. Right. They can't be the only company that helps. There's got to be more.
There's enough work around.
Absolutely.
For absolutely everybody if we play nice.
Absolutely. Now, before we get too far into it, Lexi, I kind of glanced over you here. You are the office manager here at Maxim Cleaning and Restoration. How did you get started with Maxim, and how long have you been working with them?
I've been working with Maxim for coming up on a year in April.
Okay.
So kind of just been learning more and more, and that's one of my goals for 2025 is just learn as much as I can about the company and keep moving up.
I like that. So what's kind of the position you're aiming for then? So you're learning more, you're growing with the company itself. Are you kind of trying to be maybe a field manager kind of deal, organize the crews on the mobile kind of deal?
I've been thinking about pretty much just doing as much as I can. Not
Gotcha.
really sure on an exact type of work that I'm looking for.
A Jane of all trades.
Yeah, just learn
That
as
helps.
much as I can about the company and do what I can.
Yes, and obviously those situational people like that are very valuable. So always kind of exciting to learn that everybody kind of has that utility player. It's kind of nice to have one on the show. I don't think I've had a utility player on the show yet. It's always been like, oh, well, no, I'm specialized in X, Y, Z.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice because from your perspective, I'm sure it's very different than probably your day-to-day perspective, of course.
Big time.
Big time. And then obviously on the flip side of that, you know, the cleaners and the restoration crews and all that, I'm sure that's kind of a different little parallel. Do you go out with the crews and do you kind of like get that firsthand experience, or what is that kind of detail like for your learning process?
I've gone out on a job before, but other than that, I'm pretty much just managing the technicians, scheduling and everything, organizing,
Routing.
things like that. Routing.
Gotcha.
Especially, yes.
Yeah. Traffic directors are a big key.
Yeah.
So kudos to you. That's not a job I could ever have the brain capacity to do because I'm too squirrel brained. Now, for the listeners out there that are thinking about calling Maxim, maybe they've got a pipe issue going on. Maybe they just notice some slow drains and some slow kind of buildups that are happening going on here. Should they call directly for residential? Is it commercial cleaning? Everything? What's our limitations here?
We don't have too many.
Which is good.
We do a tremendous amount of residential. We do also a tremendous amount of commercial. We just got the approval to clean the air ducts for JCPenney's at Oakview Mall.
Hey,
So-
nice. I need an applause button. Congratulations.
Was it 2 years ago, in between Christmas and New Year's, we did all the air ducts at the Election Services building. So we can handle your home with one furnace and 10 vent coverings all the way to, 58 furnaces and 1,000 vent coverings. I have to give it to my people out in the field and my people in the office, and I'm very blessed to have them. They know what they're doing. They've stuck with me through thick and thin, and I always brag that I've got the best team in Omaha.
Hey, I love that. And that's kind of the point I wanted to highlight with you real quick, too, is that it is shown on the website, too. You have no shyness about your love for the crew, and I think that's awesome, and I think that's a very cool highlight point of business when the boss and the owner is, hey, here's the people that make it work. I'm going to put them on the pedestal here, and that's who you guys should look at.
Absolutely.
I love that.
And, there's times I get into more or less a commercial situation where the guys in the field, they see a lot more than I do. So I'll come across something and go, wow, that's weird. And I'll have to call in my leads and go, have you guys seen this before? This one's throwing me for a loop. How should we address this? How can we get this done to get this customer taken care of?
Yeah.
And we just put our heads together and,
I love that.
Owner's just a title.
Yeah, I love it, though, because, that just kind of shows the humbleness, plus also the fact that not everybody knows everything.
Right.
And so you come across a weird thing. You might be the only one who saw the weird thing.
Yeah.
But no, I do love that it is a huge team collaborative effort over at Maxim, and I think that just helps speak volumes about the company and how it's ran.
Yeah.
Something else I did notice, you kind of touched on already, is area rug cleaning. That's kind of a specialty, kind of constant you had mentioned.
Yep.
I definitely feel like that's kind of a tough service for people to just kind of know offhand where to go.
It is.
Yeah.
It's area rug cleaning is a lot more in depth than regular carpet.
Right.
Area rug cleaning, we have many steps. We bring them into our shop. We flip them upside down and put them on a wire grate and run what's called a rug badger over them that literally beats all the shit out of it. Dust, dog hair, everything. We'll do that a few times, flip it over, vacuum it before we even step into steam or shampoo.
Right.
Stuff with a fringe on it.
Yeah.
We can go the extra steps to take care of that fringe and get it back to the right color. We do some minor repairs, but we also know the companies that can take care of major issues as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So for a client that is thinking like, oh, hey, my area rugs are in some rough shape right now, is it best to call and set that up? Do you guys come get them, or do I need to roll them up and come drop them off?
We do have the ability to pick up and deliver. We do have a charge for that.
Of course.
I mean, if you're capable, bring them on down to us. Usually takes about a week turnaround.
Sure. I mean, if you want something done right, I tell people you don't expect it quick.
Right.
Because the last thing you need is your precious family rug that you've had forever torn to pieces because you wanted it tomorrow. Yeah. So take some time, takes a little patience, but the end results are worth it. You have a little bit of some of those before and afters that are out there on both your socials and on the website. Love seeing those, and I know there's a lot of people out there that love watching the cleaning video part of things. So I'm sure I had to make a mention. Do you guys do that? Like consistently offer or like show that kind of behind the scenes cleaning?
Probably not as often as we should. We talk about it all the time. Sometimes if we're not out, if Lexi and I are not out on a job site watching over the guys or learning how they're doing stuff, those guys aren't taking videos.
Sure.
Yeah. They will pop some before and after pictures for a customer if the customer asks. We try to get them to take more pictures and videos, but hey, as long as they're getting the job done right and the customer's happy, that's what we care about.
That's what's important in the end of it. Because I always remember talking to my old man about that years and years and years ago. I'm like, man, you do some really beautiful interior work and you really do some great exterior. You should take pictures of them. Yeah. Well, it's like one picture and it's half blurry.
Yeah.
Like, no disrespect, man.
From a completely different angle, the lights are off or one.
So I understand that little growing pain point of it, but definitely worth a check out on your guys' social media and on your guys' website. Where can they find you out on social media? Is it just Facebook?
Yep, Facebook. Maxim Cleaning and Restoration has our page on Facebook. I myself, Gabe, Mackey, my personal page, I share quite a bit. I mean, if I see it from the company, I share it. Lexi's kind of in charge of putting all the social media stuff together. And then our website at maximprocleaners.com.
Love it. Now, Lexi, just a kind of a throw up for you here is coming up with that consistent social media pattern. How has that kind of been trying to get that established and consistent? Also, on the flip side of that, similar growing pain, is it more you trying to get more involved with taking pictures and showing the updates or maybe doing some of those behind the scenes kind of videos? Or is that more, hey, it's kind of on the back burner before you get going here with all the other learnings?
Yeah, so for the Facebook, I kind of plan out each month together, so I'm not posting the same service that we offer back to back.
That's a good idea.
Just kind of get a variety in there, and then I'll post some random cleaning tips and stuff to kind of help prevent a water damage or mold or anything like that. Yeah. And then I'm focusing mainly on getting more before and after pictures for technicians as well.
Nope, that's definitely understandable. And always, everybody I've talked to thus far this year, everyone's like 2025 is the year. Everybody's hair seems to be on fire right now. Everybody's got this real good like growth ambition to them this year, which I love seeing because I think the election year last year kind of made people clam up a bit and nobody wanted to do anything or spend any money or do anything at all. So it's nice to kind of see that shell opening back up, so to speak. Yep. But yeah, great growth goals here for 2025. Now, another part of your website that I did notice is tips. You guys offer tips literally for free on your guys' website, which to me, that is a true blue sign of a good, trustworthy company. If a company's telling you, hey, if you pay this little $5 or this monthly subscription, we'll give you the tip. How many times has anybody ever paid that? Right. I mean, really, seriously, just walk away. Find the company that's trustworthy, that's going, hey, no, we don't want you to have broken pipes, but if you do, we're here. Right. And I think those are some of the really good things that you do offer. Now, was there any of those tips that kind of stand out to you, especially this time of year, that you'd like to make a mention, or should we just encourage listeners to go check it out?
Yeah, it just, we've got such a big menu of services. I mean, I always tell people if you're having a problem with something or something's got you confused, phone calls are free.
Absolutely.
Call into the office. We'll tell you, hey, try this. And if it's not something you're comfortable with, we can schedule and send the guys out, obviously, for our service call.
Yeah.
But, phone calls are always free. I would rather give people advice than not answer the phone and have something bad happen in their home.
Right, because let's all face it, we all have run into that of like, oh, I'm going to call this company that I just Googled, and all right, I got to press 1, okay, and now I've got to press 7, okay, and now I've got, and you still don't get to anybody.
Yeah. Right.
So I love that it's still local. It's you call in, you're talking to us. Mm-hmm. Love that. That makes it, in my opinion, an even better local source to have right in our back door here in Omaha. Now, one of those things, tip-wise, since it is freezing time of year, is there any free tip out there that you want to give for the listener? What can I do to help my home not be a watery mess?
I would say if you're going to leave your home for a period of time, do not start the dishwasher or the laundry. If you're going to leave for a few days, go down and shut your water off at the main, you know, especially when you're in these single-digit sub-zero temperatures, because the last thing you want is you leave, a pipe freezes and bursts, or the line on the back of the dishwasher or refrigerator ruptures and breaks, and that water runs until you get home. Not a good situation.
Nope, you're swimming when you walk into that front door at that point.
I've seen them 6 foot deep before.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
And everything in your basement is trashed. Your kitchen floor is buckled. And in order to get that kitchen floor out, we got to remove your cabinets, your granite countertops. So we're gutting it all.
Yeah. And I want homeowners to kind of think about that for just a second. Just absorb that for just a moment. If that happens, your kitchen that you love so much is now uprooted and gone. And that'll go back later.
Probably 6 to 9 month project.
At least. I mean, you're talking literally a full interior renovation at that point, because your floor joists are probably warped at that point, or at least damaged to a structural degree.
Yep.
That's, past the subflooring and everything else that got damaged on the way down.
Yes.
Let alone the basement, like you had mentioned. Everything, memories, the keepsakes, gone.
Furniture, TVs, Yeah,
nothing like having active electricity down in the water too. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it's shocking.
I'm sure it would be. Now, in your industry, I feel like, you probably hear this a dime a dozen times, because I also in my industry tend to run into this question. It's the whole what makes you different kind of question. Well, I am kind of curious, because you guys do offer a vast amount of cleaning service, which I already think is a big difference from a lot of other cleaning companies. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else in your mind that makes you kind of stand out above the others? And that's kind of for both of you, if you each have perspective.
Well, I'm 100% locally owned. I am the owner. I have no partners. I have no corporate office halfway across the country.
Oh, no shareholders that are telling you what to do? Okay.
No. We've messed with that before, and no.
It's not fun.
And I go back, what sets me apart is I go back to my team.
Yeah.
I give it to my guys in the field and my girls handling them in the office. That's what sets us apart.
I love that.
Yeah.
Lexi, anything else to input on that, or kind of similar feelings?
I think my main thing is the team, the people in the company.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, especially when it's not coming from the boss. Hey, that just shows you true resonance there, which is great. Hey! Now, for our listeners at home, they might be sitting there going, well, I just have this little small leak that happened. Is there any job that's too big or too small that you guys kind of just go, hey, this is 20 stories of cleaning here. We're not equipped for this? Or is it, hey, we'll take a look, but it's going to be at a time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've done it all. Like I said, we've done the tiny little bathroom sink leak that's, you stick an air mover under there for 24 hours and you're good. And we've done, 50,000 square foot commercial spaces where the fire line ruptures when it's cold, and we've done it all.
And that's something, actually, a really good point for our commercial listeners to kind of think about. Mm-hmm. Fire lines.
Yep.
So ironically enough, my grandpa actually used to install a lot of them back in the day out in Colorado.
Sure.
And he had kind of told me, he's like, they're the nastiest things you'll ever have happen if it breaks.
Oh yeah.
Now, just in your expertise here, is there like a very noticeable difference from a fire line rupturing to any other kind of ruptures or backups that might happen, and kind of what is that oddity?
The amount of water those fire lines push. You're typically a 2 or a 2.5 inch pipe, and most stuff running in your home is going to be 1 inch at the biggest. Mm-hmm. So you are pushing way more water through those fire lines.
Yeah.
And that's all coming your way.
Yep. And not to mention, I think a lot of people kind of forget this. How often do fire lines typically ever get flushed? And it's not a huge amount. So you got to remember what kind of water is going to come out of there initially.
Yep.
It's never usually clean looking.
No.
We'll put it that way. But in an emergency, it doesn't matter if it's clean or not.
Right.
You just want the water.
You just want the water.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I imagine that kind of also can really contribute into how well, or how deep, I should say, you have to clean in some of those circumstances.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another service you offer that really stuck out to me was your duct cleaning. We did talk about this a little bit initially, but I think it's a service that people don't think enough about. Now, how often should our listeners maybe be looking at cleaning their ducts, and why should they have them cleaned?
Duct cleaning is kind of a fun one. Depending on the amount of traffic in your home, kids, pets, whatever, and we tell everybody every 2 to 5 years.
That's good advice.
The reason people don't think about it a lot is you don't see it. Imagine if you didn't dust the top of your dresser or the top of your black TV in 2 to 5 years. How thick's that dust going to be?
You could probably scrape it off with a paint scraper.
Guarantee it.
Yeah.
That's what's inside your ductwork.
And that's
what you're breathing. That's what's getting blown around, getting into your food. Now, do we want to get into what dust consists of?
Well, hey, I'm a scientific mind, and I know what dust consists of. But for the listeners, if you have a weak stomach, maybe now's the time to tune out. But yeah, what is dust?
Dead skin, hair follicles, pet dander. I mean, it's all the nasty stuff.
It's all the stuff you don't want to breathe.
You don't want to breathe. You don't want it in your drink. You don't want it in your food.
And I imagine once you have those ducts cleaned out, the air quality in your home has to drastically increase noticeably right away.
Big time. And we do also offer an antimicrobial sanitizing power wash that we can push through there as well for people with allergies, asthma, stuff like that. And that all helps. We use it a lot in elderly facilities, medical facilities.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's very good. That's very good information, because I know a lot of people here in Nebraska, if you're like me, you go west a little bit, back where I'm from, and you run into ragweed during part of the year, and your face feels like it's just running off of your body.
Yep.
It's not so bad here in Omaha. I've learned that I'm okay over here, but I've also run into people that just the daily dust from kick up, if it's dry outside, they are just ruined for the day.
And it's just been a nasty year because we haven't had it.
It's not been
nothing for moisture this winter. So it's going to be dusty.
Yeah, so it's definitely worth maybe having you come out, take a look in your vents, and recommend if you need a cleaning or not. Yeah. That's something I'm going to maybe check my vent when I come home today.
And my 2 lead technicians and myself, we all carry cameras, so we can put our little probe up in there and tell you what we see, or even show you what we see.
Well, that's kind of cool that a lot of companies and a lot of people will be like, all right, homeowners, you just go into that room, we're just going to do our thing over here. So that's cool that you're involving with the customer.
Yeah. I always tell everybody, hey, it's your house. You can do what you want. If you want to watch us work, watch us work. If you want to get out of here for a couple hours, because it is somewhat noisy.
Sure.
The door is propped open to get our hoses in and out. So it's your home. Whatever you want to do.
I like that. And I think that's a really comfortable attitude to have about that, especially from a client side of things. Just, hey, it is my home. If I want to hang out with the guy, or if I'm going upstairs, I can just let him be.
Just remember, if you're following him step for step, it's going to take him a little longer to do his job.
Yeah, and maybe, don't hover so close. Right. Nobody likes a crowded workspace, we'll put it that way. Now, unfortunately, we do live in a state where our weather goes real wild, and it can change very quickly for us. Now that winter's here, we've obviously talked about our damaged pipes, burst pipes, all that kind of sort of thing. If I call you right now with an emergency, hey, my pipe's broken and I just came home, it's been running for a day and a half. If I call you, how does that service and how does that step now kind of start to work from your side coming into the client's home, plus the mold remediation that's going to have to follow?
if we get on it quick enough, hopefully we can sidestep the mold remediation.
Love that.
If you call me today, I don't care if you call me at 2 o'clock in the morning, we're going to have somebody out within 4 hours.
That's great. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty nice too, especially, again, because accidents happen all time of night. Yep. Murphy rides shotgun with everybody and waits for nobody.
That's right.
So I do love that is something that you guys are able to offer. You're able to get somebody on the spot. And I think that helps speak volumes about your company.
Yeah, we have an on-call rotation with me and the girls in the office. Somebody takes a week at a time. Somebody will answer phone calls that come in after hours. And then we have obviously a rotation with the technicians of, okay, so Lexi or Kimberly has the phones, Matt's the on-call. Hey, I got a water damage. Kimberly answers the phone, okay. Takes some information from the customer, calls Matt. Matt either scrambles a helper if he thinks he's going to need it or not, meet at the shop, grab our crap, and go.
I like that too. Yeah. And for a couple of folks that maybe don't have the picture in their head, when you guys are coming out, it's big fans. It's, you're pulling moisture out of there. Yep. It's not just your little flip-on house fan that's going to spin.
We're gonna create tornadoes in rooms. Our dehumidifiers suck out about 140 pints of water per day.
Wow.
That's per unit.
Yeah, I've seen some of those in work before. So when I very first moved over here from Norfolk, got out of radio and moved over here, I worked at Best Buy for a little bit.
Yep.
It was the Best Buy on 76 and Dodge that flooded a handful of times.
So we're familiar with each other.
Yeah. We actually, I think, have run into each other once or twice. I've seen some of those in action, though, and it is... Honestly, it's incredible, especially from that retail store space perspective. I know how big that store was.
Yeah,
that was a heck of a job because of the construction that happened on the backside of that.
Yeah,
that just kept filling
every time it rained.
Oh, it was awful. And half the time it was me opening. Yeah. So I'm like, great, I know who I'm calling.
Right.
But no, it was really incredible, like how quickly that process went from we are in water and don't know what to do to we're back.
Yep.
I think in that store's particular case, it was about a week and a half-ish, just because we had like another rain that happened in the middle of it.
I think it hit you guys 2 or 3 times.
Within like 3 years.
We'd start getting you dry, and then it would rain again. And it would bring in all that mud and everything from the construction project behind you. Oh.
Yeah, I remember at one point we had to like sandbag the fire exits temporarily because... it just couldn't take on any more water.
Right.
And it was just crazy. But I think they got all that figured out now. I don't think that store's flooded for a while. But it was kind of crazy. I kind of thought about it. I was like, I'm pretty sure it was you guys that was out there.
That was us.
A little journey down memory lane there.
Right.
Speaking of a little journey throughout the year here, events, promotions, all of these good fun stuffs happen all the time. Are you a part of anything that's coming up or any big kind of celebrations that you have this year?
Not really this year. I mean, we're pushing our spring cleaning.
Always a good one.
Yeah. If you have us out to clean your air ducts, we will do your dryer vent for 50% off, which saves $100.
I love that.
We do a 10% veterans?
Yep, 10% military discount.
I love that.
Senior discount as well.
Yep.
10% military and senior. I love that because we've got a couple of different military people and organizations, friends of the show on here. So happy to talk to them and be like, hey, next time you guys are needing something, I guess I know the guy to call.
Right.
So that's really good to know. And spring cleaning, again, we're going to be just around the corner.
Yep.
Hopefully we don't have a gnarly winter and we get nailed with some crazy ice storm again and we're all fine this year.
Right.
So fingers crossed on that, knock on a little wood, and get some spring cleaning lined up. I think that's a really good thing, especially if our weather stays nice. Mm-hmm. Focus on some good, fun starts to the year. Spring cleaning's great.
Everybody's going to be wanting Jonesing to get back outside. And you go outside, the kids are going to track it in, the dogs are going to track it in. Somebody's got to clean it up.
Yeah, so you might as well trust the professionals at Maxim Cleaning and Restoration.
I would.
And of course, there's always more to talk about with you guys. There is actually someone out there who can, well, I should kind of maybe phrase it this way. You guys always have your customer attitude first. Like, hey, we're taking care of the client. These people are the key to the business, right? Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, and especially in our industries, we can kind of share this growing pain, we'll call it, is you can't please everybody 100% of the time, right? You can bend over backwards, you can be balancing a tea tray on your nose, and you can be singing the national anthem. they're still not going to be happy with whatever you did.
Right.
I'm kind of curious, how do you kind of start to pick up on that since you have so many years in the industry? Are you able to kind of weed that out right away? And then kind of the second half of that is, how do you work through a customer if it's a little too late in that process and you're already working with them and they start to kind of rear that ugly head, so to speak?
Yeah, it does happen once in a very great while, not a lot. We just have to go back to them and remind them that we are the professionals. We are certified. We are educated. We know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Please let us do our job.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to let us do our job, then we're going to part ways.
I think that's a healthy attitude about it, because I think so many times people think because they watched a YouTube video or they saw on the Facebook somewhere that their friend did so-and-so or did X, Y, Z, and you guys should be doing it that way.
Yeah.
Well, who are you going to trust, Grandma? The Facebook page that might have been active more than a year, or the guy who's been in it for 30 plus years, doing it day in, day out? Right. So I do think it is one thing to highlight that you guys do work as much as you can to make your clients as happy as absolutely possible. But just wanted to put that little, reminder back to reality that, hey, don't be that guy. Don't be that person. Just let the pros do their job, and everybody's going to be happier in the end. Guarantee it. And life's not that serious. I just want to point people out, hey, if there's a speck of dust, oh man, I think your Swiffer could get that one.
Right.
Just to kind of, be not too critical on anybody, but, I think we can all do our part on that side of things too. Now, challenges in your industry, I imagine, are a little bit different than what we've kind of seen in my side of things. Because again, yours is a more physical and hands-on industry and has a lot of change and adaptation to it. What are some recent challenges that you've had to overcome for Maxim Cleaning and Restoration?
One of the biggest ones was when COVID hit was staffing. Everybody wanted to go home and stay home, but there was still a lot of work out there that needed to get done. We were going into some of the federal buildings, whether that be city, county, or state, wiping stuff down for COVID protocols. You still got to have people to go do it.
Yeah.
And it was tough. And up until, probably about halfway through 2022 or 2023, it finally started to turn around.
Nice. That's good.
Yeah.
And I am kind of curious, since that is such an interesting thing to think about, your industry and COVID. Seems like a lifetime ago already, but impacts are still felt about it today. Yes. I'm kind of curious, how did you operate during COVID? Because, that was such a people closing their doors in people's faces kind of situation.
Well, we had to tread very lightly, obviously. We actually shut down for about 2 weeks. And then people realized, water damages still happen.
It's still going to happen, yeah.
Commercial places still needed their air ducts cleaned and stuff like that. So we masked up and we treaded very lightly with customers, and, we made sure they were comfortable first.
I love that.
As we were taking care of our project. We still run into some people that request that we wear a mask.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you still do.
Yeah,
but
we'll do it.
Yeah, and again, that goes back to the customer appeasement and the customer first mentality about this company. Again, for those of you kind of tuning in and out and catching glimpses here and there of the episode, we are sitting down with Lexi Reynolds, the office manager, and Gabe Mackey, the owner of Maxim Cleaning and Restoration. Now, to kind of follow suit with that, what is something you feel has kind of been a really major pride point? You've kind of mentioned your team a few times. Is that kind of the major pride point of Maxim Cleaning and Restoration, or has there been like another gem that's kind of on the crown, so to speak?
That is my 100% pride point. I'm so proud and blessed to have the team that I do. I wouldn't be sitting here if I didn't. They're epic. They get out there and they bust their butts. They put up with my crap, probably too much sometimes,
Well, hey, the workday wears on us all some days. So
that's right.
Always take it with a grain of salt, and tomorrow will be another day.
I got to get really good at reading people, because when the girls in the office aren't in the mood to joke around and have fun, I need to bite my lip, shut up, stay in my office. But no, the people are it, and I got to contribute that to last year. We had our best year ever.
Hey, congratulations.
Mother Nature was by far our best salesperson with all the tornadoes and everything we did. But it's still the people that had to get out there and do the work.
Absolutely.
So
I love that. Lexi, same question for you. Has there been a real major pride point as you're coming up on your 1 year here at Maxim Cleaning and Restoration?
I'd have to agree with Gabe. It's the team, the people at Maxim. It just makes it a great place to work. And then also the customers love our technicians. We get a ton of feedback from them, like naming them by name, just saying how great they are and how they want to have them back out. I
think that's a really cool part of what you handle as well, is you probably are, and from what I've gathered, you are the direct line of contact, typically with the customer.
Yes, me and Kimberly, the other girl in the
Gotcha.
office. It's me and her answering phones and then getting the client feedback.
So if you call in today, you know who you're talking to. Well, one of the two that you're talking to, I said.
Right.
The other one, we'll just keep it a mystery. Sorry, Kimberly. Next time.
yeah, right.
Now, I do want to, I kind of love this question because in everybody's industry, I get some really unique answers out of this. Now, what's something you want listeners to either know more about when it comes to Maxim Cleaning and Restoration, or just maybe about the cleaning and restoration industry in general?
We're trustworthy people.
Yeah.
You can trust us in your home, and we do background everybody.
Yeah, I think that's a healthy thing to mention nowadays too. I love it. Lexi, anything you want to throw in?
We're 100% locally owned.
Yeah.
All of your money stays right here in the Omaha metro area. I'm not sending fees off to a corporate office. And we do give to like the local charity banks. We help out with some of the smaller school systems. Your money stays home with me.
I think that's a really cool gem to kind of highlight there. Again, when you're thinking local, sometimes people just go, "Oh, it's a local company." No, think about the other effect that now that has on the economy and things that are going to be back here in the state. Lexi, anything to add into that? Maybe something you've learned, or maybe something that kind of broke the mold for you, so to speak, when you thought, "I'm going to get into this," and now it's like, this is not what I thought it was at first.
Yeah. Pretty much no job is exactly the same.
Sure.
Our technicians will go out and assess exactly what's going on, especially with water damages and mold and everything like that. And even air ducts, they'll do a first walkthrough and figure out what's all going on. And that's something that a lot of people don't realize, is that every job is different. There's no job that's going to be the exact same.
Oh, come on. You mean my flooded basement's not like that guy's flooded basement?
Right.
Oh, come on. We have similar stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's always the insurance thing, too. It's like, well, I have similar stuff to what he has.
Yeah.
Great. Similar, right? Now, before I wrap up the business side of things, we're going to get into our personal questions of the day. Is there anything else you'd like to leave the listeners off with? We're trustworthy. It's local business, and it's a great place to do business with. Is there anything else that we missed on the company?
And if you run into a situation where you're working with your insurance company, we work with insurance companies on a daily basis. We can handle the claim from start to finish. I do have a team of contractors I work with that can do the build back portion of a job for you if you'd like.
Great.
We can start to finish, man.
I love that. And I think that helps clients and listeners to kind of get a little appeasement, because, again, when something like that happens, it's a major kind of catastrophic event for them. They're not really sure what to do in that moment. I think it's maybe an appeasement to go, oh, hey, you know what? I can call Max and they're at least going to talk to me.
Yep.
I think that's a great starting point. Have that conversation with a trusted professional. Again, we are sitting down with the owner, Gabe Mackey of Maxim Cleaning and Restoration, and Lexi Reynolds, the office manager, or one of the office managers? The office manager?
Is the office.
You're the office manager. Okay. I was like, since it's you and Kimberly, I don't want to, throw any slight to her if she's a co-office manager there. But no, I love that. So on to our personal questions. Now, these will be for both of you. It's officially 2025. I have reworded this question because I used to ask people, since it was wintertime, the air hurts my face. I hate the winter. I'm in Hawaiian shirts. I used to ask people, like, what do you want to do now that it's winter? What's something you look forward to? I think now that it's 2025, I think that's a better question. What's something here in 2025 you're either hoping to accomplish, maybe a goal to set, or maybe just a great vacation you're looking forward to?
Oh, boy. I am a huge avid outdoorsman. I do a tremendous amount of hunting and fishing. I'm actually taking my son and my dad pheasant hunting this weekend.
Ooh.
We are life members in the Nebraska Airboaters Association.
Very
so as soon
cool.
as I get home, it's going to start being time to get that baby cranked up.
Oh, yeah.
Ready for the summer. We usually do a camping trip or two in the summer. my wife, we've got 2 children, ages 10 and 6. We are huge Kansas City Chiefs fans. So
awkward. I'm a Denver Broncos fan.
That's your problem. Nobody's perfect.
I know. Somebody's got to be, right?
Right. So we usually get to a game or 2 a year. We spend a lot of time down in Lincoln at the Husker games. And in our spare time, we're hunting, fishing, camping.
Love it.
Whatever.
I love it. You ever get out to Calamus?
All the time.
That's where I'm originally from. Taylor, Nebraska.
Yep.
If you blink, you miss it. If you've never been that way, Lexi.
Taylor's got some great lodges there on that west end at the Bootlegger.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Bootlegger's a fun place. I always joke that the silhouettes of people still scare people to this day.
Probably. I bet.
They had to move one. So there was one on the corner of the intersection. There's that gas station to your left. Mm-hmm. On the right in that ditch, they had one originally. And it was of a guy who used to walk that dirt trail just to kind of like, that was his thing. And he was a notable guy in the town. Or village. We're not a town. We're not big enough to be a town. Right. And they had him down in the ditch. Well, the cops had gotten so many calls that there was somebody in the ditch waving him down. And nobody stopped. Nobody stopped to check if it was a real person, which just tells you the era we kind of live in. I'm like, there's just a dude in a ditch. I drove off. Right. But so the cops had to make them move that one away from the intersection because it was like down and partially shadowed. So it just like you saw a hand. It was very, very odd. Well, fun fact about pretty much. Like people were freaking out. But fun fact about Taylor. Right. Lexi, similar question for you. Any big plans, goals for yourself, or maybe just a nice vacation coming up in 2025?
No set in stone vacation, but I'm thinking about planning one for the summer.
Okay.
So
Where are we thinking?
I've been wanting to go to Utah, but then I typically go to Colorado with my dad every year. So
I do love Colorado. If you want a cool place to go check out in Colorado, Bishop's Castle. One of the coolest things you'll ever see. The guy built it by hand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't know if he's still alive. Last I knew, he was kind of in his older years. But this guy, from the ground up, built this castle. And it's like a true medieval castle. Right. And he even implemented a dragon head out of it that 4th of July he would shoot fireworks and stuff from. Like, super, super cool place. Put it on the list if you happen to go out that way this year, because I love that place. But back to Omaha, where we can also see some amazing things. I like to ask people, what do you consider your Mount Rushmore of Omaha? And that's a loaded question, but I always kind of put it in the light of, if I'm a listener, I'm driving into Omaha this weekend, what are some kind of recent places or some places on the top of mind that you're like, oh man, you got to go see this?
Just all depends on the time of year. There's so much that goes on in this great area. I mean, summertime, obviously College World Series.
Oh, yeah.
Concerts upon concerts upon concerts, always going on at CHI or even in Lincoln at the Pinnacle. Yeah. I mean, this eastern side of our state, there's so much to offer. You just can't do it all.
I know. I've lived here for coming up on 5 years here before we know it, and I don't think I've even touched a quarter of what's here in Omaha. There's it feels like there's more and more always every day, which is kind of a fun thing to think about.
It is. It's great.
Yeah. Lexi, any restaurants or anything like that you've just been digging on lately?
I'd say first thing that came to mind is like with the time of the year, probably in the summer, the zoo, and then also the Sac Museum. That's kind of I haven't been to the Sac Museum.
That's on my list. I'll have to get to it. It's on my list. They're coming after the Luminarium. I got to get out to the Luminarium. Keep telling myself that, so maybe this is the weekend I go. Now, again, with having so much here in Omaha, I kind of like to ask this one to help maybe point out some, maybe just spots that get missed, or maybe some people or organizations that get missed. But what is something here in Omaha that you wish people either knew more about or supported more?
The Children's Hospital.
Yeah, that's a
good
one.
We have, I think, one of the best children's hospitals in the country. And, everybody's always, let's send our money to, what's the one?
St. Jude.
St. Jude. Ours is just as good as St. Jude. St. Jude just advertises a little bit more.
St. Jude's got the reputation, right?
They do. I'm not dogging on them one bit, but I would say support local.
Yeah. Children's Museum's a phenomenal place anyway, and I swear they keep that thing looking as new as the day it was constructed.
I remember going there when I was knee-high to a grasshopper.
Right. And it's still just vibrant and as beautiful as always. So very, very good highlight. I don't think anybody's really mentioned that one on the show yet. So good point out. Lexi, any others that you want to throw into that ring?
I definitely agree with the Children's Hospital. But also like just the small local businesses, all those small restaurants that people like to just not think about. They want to go to the nice fancy ones.
Sure.
A lot of small restaurants in this city are really good.
Yeah, and it's really kind of fun that you can kind of go into some of the other areas like Ralston and Papillion and just find some really, really great spots.
Yeah.
And they're usually not very well, like heavily trafficked, which is kind of the nice part, but it's also like, man, this place needs some love.
Right.
Like, this was awesome food. You don't know how the doors are, not just bursting. But yeah, I think that's just a little bit of a spoilage that we have here in Omaha.
It is.
We are very, very fortunate and lucky here. Now, before we wrap up the show here, Gabe, Lexi, is there anything else we want to leave off for the listeners?
Don't let those pipes burst, and think about spring cleaning, and phone calls are free.
Phone calls are free. Spring cleaning it is.
Yeah.
And don't break your pipes, please.
Right.
Listen to the beginning of the show where we just told you how to not do that.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate the both of you making time out of your busy days to come onto the show and help talk about a great local company that I think more people now can have in their back pocket for when they need you. Again, we've had the distinct pleasure to sit down with office manager Lexi Reynolds and Gabe Mackey, the owner of Maxim Cleaning and Restoration. Thank you guys so much for coming on to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in. We will always have more next time.